So welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while, so I'm really grateful that you're here. I'm grateful to have another chance to be in front of you as to where I've been, and I definitely will give you one. It's just now is not the time and place, but there are a few things I would like to say. I would first like to say thank you to YouTube for letting me back on, and I'd like to say thank you to Johnny, my lawyer, and thank you to Gia, my co-producer. So we have a great show for you planned tonight. We have my managing mods are back, and we have an active chat. I also have a special guest tonight, Robert from True Crime Cult. Welcome, Robert.
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Um, I've been doing okay. Been having problems with my boom mic today, and it's been giving me a lot of feedback in my headphones. So I just unplugged it and went with my webcam with the built-in mic.
Well, thank you for making it work. And we have a great show for you tonight. Robert and I were talking backstage. We have actually a few things we're going to show you on his channel. The first thing we're going to do is our updates. So there's so many things to touch base on, but the most pressing piece of update we have for you tonight is that there is the trial, the hearing that's going to be tomorrow, the closed hearing. And I'm going to share my screen with you. One second. Okay, let me share my screen with you. Robert, I just put you on mute while I'm pulling that up. Okay, let me see, make sure you guys can see that. Perfect. So I'm just going to read you this quick update. So this article is found on msn.com, and it says the May 14th hearing in Idaho versus Koberger will be closed to the public and media. Moscow, Idaho. Judge John Judge decided to close the May 14th hearing in State of Idaho versus Brian Koberger. He says without the availability to speak on specific pieces of evidence or discovery, the public would be missing important context. Last month, the state mentioned to the closed hearing scheduled for May 14th on defendant's fifth motion to compel. The defense objected, saying Koberger has the right to a public hearing, to public proceedings. Ann Taylor, Koberger's lead counsel, argued that she would be able to discuss aspects of the motion without discussing protected materials. She says much of what would be discussed is already in the probable cause affidavit, which has been public for some time now. Ashley Jennings with the state countered that how these materials are dissected is more important than whether or not they are public, especially when they include names of both individuals and businesses. Judge interjected that it could become prejudicial to either side in this case if they were to try to discuss this content in an open hearing, ultimately siding with the state closing the May 14th hearing. So the hearing is scheduled for May 16th. The hearing scheduled for May 16th was always closed because it revolves around the investigation of the genetic genealogy materials, which is protected under the order. So Judge has also mentioned that he received subpoenas from members of the FBI in connection to pieces of information the defense has received as part of discovery. He plans to sign them. Moving forward, there will be 2 monthly hearings on the schedule. This way, they'll be able to get around a couple of time-consuming steps settled on procedure, as well as leaving enough time of notice if one is not needed. And Robert, I'm going to bring you back through. Sorry about that. Hold on. Oh, I've got a room on my screen. There we are.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great.
I was in the void of Idaho.
Exactly. I was thinking, let's bring up for our soundbite after reading that little blurb. Let's bring up your latest little 8-minute soundbite and let's take a listen to it and just take some reactions. I love the way you're approaching this from an evidentiary standpoint, kind of like a detective would. Maybe you could tell the folks a little bit of what you told me earlier. Just
Oh, yeah, I've been in consultation with my good friend A.R. Hayes, and we talk on here and as well as off of here, as everyone knows. And yeah, I've run a few things by him, and he's given me his thoughts and his opinions on them. And a lot of the stuff that I've done in the past, like the conspiracy theories and everything else, I'm starting to realize that this should be about facts in the case. And there's a lot of comments I've gotten over the past few days. There's no facts in this case. The only facts in this case is there's 4 dead college students. And I'm thought to myself, there's got to be facts in this case. We just have to dig through the speculation and the conspiracy theories to get to the facts of the case.
Yeah. I mean, what we can go by is what we have. And I'm going to start displaying some comments while you're talking. We've got so many great people here I haven't seen in so long. Yeah, and I mean, we can stick with what we have in the PCA. I mean, those are facts. I mean, they are what the evidence is. I mean, we might not know what facts are, but we know what the evidence is. We know it's going to be presented at court, and that's what we can debate. And everything else is kind of just smoke and mirrors right now.
Yeah.
We're going to be mind blown about how many different things we don't know about, though. Okay.
Yeah, that is a good point. There's stuff in the PCA that I don't believe, but there's also stuff that I need to dig through as well. I've only dug through maybe 9 pages of it. I'm in the process of digging through the rest of the PCA. Now, Jay Embry, he actually dug through the PCA, and he had a very interesting, his own point of view from the PCA. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we won't know because of the gag order.
I mean, you just look at, so you're talking about the PCA. I've actually been going over this because this is what we're doing on Thursday is we're reviewing the PCA. So I have sticky notes. I've been going through it, but I mean, you just go to the first page, redacted. And I mean, even on that page, I was listening to a lawyer, do his analysis, his old analysis on the PCA. And he even says that appears to be some sort of informant or co-defendant or something. It's just, we just don't know. And it appears that there's just so many deep things that are going to be coming out. But anyway, let's get your latest video up. And I want to hear this I want to hear your edited version of what you just said. So let's get this up here. Oh, that's your community tab. We're going to be sharing that next. That's an amazing little map we have coming up of Brian Kohlberger's alibi route that Robert has put together. It's very detailed. So this is about
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, and I'm here with Keith, co-star of my upcoming film, If.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, I've been taking some time to unwind and decompress. And I was with my daughter, who just had ear surgery a few days ago. What do we know about what's going on in the Idaho4 case? Well, for one, we have crackhead Santa, Bill Thompson, not wanting the expert to testify, Cy Ray. And the next 2 hearings are going to be closed. We can throw a lot of speculations out what happened that night, guys. We can throw out that there was 2 different crime scenes. Or there was a fight club there in Moscow, or there was tunnels under the house. We can throw out all those different speculations. Does it mean that those speculations are true? No. That doesn't mean those speculations are true. Does it mean they could be true? Possibly. But as far as I've researched this case and heard a lot of different wild theories, it all draws me back to the same point. I don't think there was 2 crime scenes. I don't think there is tunnels under the house. And I honestly don't think there's a fight club there in Moscow. Could it be true? Yes. But could it also not be true? Yes. And I'm still standing by that Brian's innocent. But we also have to look at the facts of the case. The fact is that, yes, this case is a very complex case. This case is a once-in-a-lifetime case, a very high-profile case. But I don't think there was 2 crime scenes. Yeah, I honestly don't think there was 2 crime scenes.
Robert,
If there was 2 crime scenes,
I'm going to pause for a second. I just want to back up what you're saying. So I've also been in those email chains and those different comments that have suggested the Fight Club and the 2 different crime scenes. And what I've always said is there's such a lack of DNA as it is. It makes it hard for me to listen to those, that the crime scene could have been outside of the house too. Because how would that have happened? We already have a problem with lack of DNA. How would have they been able to pull something like that off without leaving a DNA trail? So I agree with you. And
Sorry, that's my 9-year-old running through the living room.
hey,
But yeah, I mean, there's no DNA trails going from in and out of the house, and I've heard someone left me a comment saying, "Oh, the house was used. It was staged. It was a body dump." I have not seen not one shred of evidence on that. Yeah, I have not seen any evidence that the house was a staging area and the bodies were dumped or anything like that. It's just good. It goes back to what I was saying a few minutes ago in my video. That's another conspiracy theory that's being ran rampant.
Yeah. Well, I listened to the person who shared that theory with me because of other things involved with it. But I think that out of respect, I definitely anywhere where evidence leads us or somebody tells us to take a look, I've definitely taken a look. But in this one theory, I stand by you, Robert. I haven't seen yet to see anything that backs up the Linda Lane Fight Club theory. And Rolo, I'm sorry if you're watching. I know other than the knife video we've analyzed, that could be, not that fits into anything precisely, but that's the only other thing that I've seen to kind of put any, I don't want to say evidence, but put something, shed a little light for us to look at something else. I thought that was an interesting video. I'm not used to being back on live stream, so maybe my words aren't flowing like they should right now. Let's put your video back on before I put my foot in my mouth.
We would have heard that there was 2 crime scenes. We would have heard that they found Kaylee and Maddie in the house and Xana and Ethan somewhere else. But speaking of Xana and Ethan, there's 5 hours of missing time on them. I mean, you have Xana's dad saying he spoke to them. I spoke to her at midnight, and they were at the 1122 King Road house. And then you have the supposed witness statements of Bethany saying that she saw them at the frat party from 9 p.m. to 1:45 a.m. But I wouldn't believe Bethany as far as I could throw her, which isn't that far. And then, of course, we have Dylan, who did not have a timeline that night. All we knew, she was out on the town. Yeah, no one knew where she was at when she was out on the town. But if you notice, when they did the alcohol stop on Banfield, you had one white car or a silver car driving past the Banfield, and you had the black truck driving past the car. Well, there's a lot of rumors that Dylan was in that silver car with a friend of hers driving past the Banfield, and the black truck was her boyfriend Quinn Kelly driving past her. But this case, I don't think we'll ever really know what's going on in the case, guys, because of the gag order. I really don't. I don't think we'll ever know because of the gag order. Now, I know Bill Thompson has been sealing everything up left and right. Why all this secrecy with this case?
No offense, but if you still think stocks, real estate, or crypto are the best passive
No, I'm the one
income
with the
investment,
commercials. I forgot.
I only like listen and watch very few
I
content creators.
canceled my premium membership. I need to next time I live stream, I'll renew it before then. I'm sorry, you guys.
Here on YouTube, and the ones I watch are the ones I trust, and I know that gives out factual information. See, Economics Thoughts with A.R. Hayes, I watch. And him and I are also friends off the platform. So any ideas I have, I run by him. And then he tells me his opinions on why I run by him. And then there's Lucky. There's Pete from Murder Metal Mayhem. There's Swamp Rose. Yeah, those are the creators that and I do watch the occasional Jay Embry video. Those are the creators that I watch, that I trust, that I know give out factual information. And then there's content creators that I don't watch, that don't give out factual information, that don't stick to the facts and bring all these wild conspiracy theories. I may watch them for like 5 minutes, but as soon as I hear like a wild conspiracy theory, I tune out. And I'll go watch a Lucky video or a Pete video or A.R. Hayes video. And I want to say congratulations to Swamp Rose. She got her channel back.
Thanks, Robert.
But we don't know what's going on in this case because of the gag order. We'll never know what's going on in this case because of that. But I think we as true crime content creators need to stick to the facts. Enough with the wild conspiracy theories. I will admit I've put out a few wild conspiracy theories in the past. I will admit that. But I think we all just need to stick to the facts. And we need to seek justice for Xana, Maddie, Kaylee, and Ethan. All right, this is going to be a short video to get today, guys. I got to go doctor my daughter.
But let's see. I'm not going to search around for it. I'm just going to bring you to my X page so I'm not fiddling with the computer. So, we have so much to get to tonight. So let me go to my... That's next. This is my, and we'll go to this live. Not familiar. Okay, here, metadata. And there are so many ways to manipulate. It's very weird that the phone is offline and all right, I'm going to show you. Sorry for me. Sorry for the dead air, guys. Hold on, I'll put the music on in a second so that doesn't happen again. Let me go back to, I'm just bringing up the movie. I mean, the full video I did, not the movie. Here it is.
Meyer from YouTube reached out to Steve, and he actually sent back a personal letter explaining some of Kaylee's accounts because we're in question. So Steve actually put a really fascinating line in this that I'd like to read to you.
So I'm going to read this entire paragraph. I don't have text, but I'm focusing on when Steve G talks about Kaylee's phone going offline. So the letter goes on to read, we're aware that neither Kaylee nor Maddie made a call to 911. I need to double check with the girls as they were the ones who accessed their accounts. According to my recollection, Kaylee's last call was to Jack at 2:56, after which her phone appeared to go offline. While there have been rumors of unusual events that night, we haven't found any corroborating reports, so we haven't officially published that we heard within the first 24 hours. We maintain a few different narratives close to the chest to help us understand if the said source has knowledge that we have heard from direct sources. In a situation where information is sealed, closed, gagged, and redacted, these small details help us to discern whether someone knows the true details related to our case or simply are spreading online speculation.
So I looked up the definition of offline, and this is actually what it means.
Google says, whenever you see a message that says phone is offline, it means that your device is unable to connect to the internet. It also means that your phone is unable to utilize the SIM card, and hence you won't be able to access mobile data internet, place phone calls, or send SMS text.
So I don't know what it means. I'm just giving you the information so you can do what you want with it. But I will say, for me personally, it made me think of some of the reporting early on. But interesting that Kaylee's phone was disabled. I don't know if that indicates a signal jammer, the phone running out of batteries, what that could mean. But it does remind me of one thing with Kaylee's technology, which was early on, 12 hours after she was discovered unalive. Her LinkedIn account came online long enough to disable and erase itself. Her sister Olivia saw the account go live, took screenshots, and then took screenshots when it disappeared. So I don't know what it means, but I wanted to show you so that you can include it in your research.
Okay.
That is weird.
Yeah, and then I see this, you see this comment from Christy where she says, whoops, and then I take it down. Wasn't it like, she goes, wasn't it like 2:57 when Kaylee and BK's phone both went offline that night when he shut off his phone almost weird at the same time? Well, I think it was Christy who brought that up in X because I've
guess how old he is. Guess how old.
what was that? But anyway, this, if you guys go to page 12 of the PCA, I was looking it up while she said that. I'm just going to read this paragraph to you. November 13th, 2022, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., after determining that Kohlberger was associated with both the 2015 white Elantra and the 8458 phone, investigators reviewed these search warrants. A query of the 8458 phone in these returns did not show that the 8458 phone utilizing cellular data resources close to the proximity of the rest between 3 and 5 a.m. So, yeah, BK's phone allegedly goes offline at the same time. The other thing that I was thinking of is we did that interview with WSU Mom Kim right before, I took my little break from YouTube, and she talks about systems being down. Now, I asked her, I go, what was it? And she goes, it was everything. The one thing I didn't ask her if it was the Wi-Fi, but when systems are down, I asked her, was it like the systems within the school? And she goes, everything, everything. And I should have asked her to elaborate on it, but I think they mentioned cell phone tower data. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. It's interesting. And if BK is the guy, well, I mean, wouldn't we expect somebody who could, if he had the intelligence and he worked in forensic cloud,
Cloud-based forensics.
yeah, would you expect him to be able to do something, with the data or everything? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Robert, you want to pick up where I left off?
Uh-huh. See, here's what I don't understand. He applied at Pullman Police Department, went for an interview. They didn't hire him, so he went to Moscow Police Department, had an interview. They didn't hire him, and he was going for his PhD in cloud forensics. Basically, cloud forensics. Yeah, you can like look up body cams and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I'm kind of wondering if maybe the Moscow or the Pullman Police Department didn't want this. He didn't want him having access to their body cams.
And why would that be? Give a scenario why they wouldn't want that.
Because maybe there was something shady going on at the Pullman Police Department. Just like I was watching a Nico Nerd and Nuggets video here a couple of weeks ago, and what if the Pullman Police Department had some kind of shady stuff going on, and they didn't want this PhD college student who was going for his cloud forensics degree getting access to their body cam because they didn't want somebody asking questions, especially somebody who hasn't been in Washington all that long. He had only been in Washington 6 months.
That's an interesting theory. I think, was it Jay Embry who said, and you tell me what you think on this. I don't think it was Jay Embry who said, if BK applied for a job at Pullman, and I don't know if this is true or not, but with his background going into rehab twice, that they don't hire people who have been to rehab. What do you know on that?
He could possibly be right. If you're going for a law enforcement job, they tend to prefer people who don't have drug histories or who have been in rehab. And I see CB's thing. Well, aren't those conspiracy theories?
Where's CB?
CB. Well, they can be construed as conspiracy theories, CB. But it's just something plausible to try to pick away at possibly the truth on why he wasn't hired at Pullman or Moscow is that he probably carried himself as a Mr. Know-It-All. And the police department, who we all know there are crooked cops in police departments across the country. And this guy coming in who's getting a degree in cloud-based forensics, who would have access to their body cams, yeah, that would kind of throw a red flag of, hey, we don't need to hire this guy. He's going to find out what we're doing, da-da-da-da-da. So let's not hire him, and let's just reject his application. Because like it or not, I mean, yes, there's police corruption all over the United States. There really is. Yeah, I mean, there's good cops in the precincts. There's also bad cops. And are there bad cops in Moscow? More than likely, yeah. There are bad cops in Moscow, but are there good cops in Moscow? Yeah, more likely, yes to that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Gia has the best quote when it comes to that our criminal justice system and any of our systems are only as good as the people that are in them. I have, and I just like you, we have to believe that there's good people out there and there's good people that do, encompass these jobs because God help us, this, if there aren't. And there's a lot of comments since you said that. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. Okay, just a couple things back to what they were saying. When the university Wi-Fi went down, 10,000 students' phones switched to cell service immediately, overloading the cell towers and dropping cells that were further away, making BK's phone not hit on a tower. That's a great comment. Thank you so much.
That is a good comment.
I'm going to look into that. I mean, because that is very specific, and I can at least I can build off that and do a little research. Thank you. The exact same thing. Wait, I just looked into this exact same thing. Asked Twiz, what do you got? First of all, he was an outsider, and secondly, the cops want to keep their tea didn't realize so they can do what they want behind the scenes and cover for another. Definitely, entitled to your opinion. And then she wrote, and the cops want to keep behind the thin blue line. And I don't know.
Basically, going back to what I was saying, they didn't want some college student who was going for his PhD in cloud-based forensics getting a hold of their body cams because they didn't want the truth coming out. On what goes on behind the thin blue line. And yes, I do support the thin blue line. My uncle, Lord rest his soul, he was a Wichita police officer for about 20 years. And I lost him back in the early 90s. But so I support the thin blue line and the thin red line. I had an uncle. He was a firefighter, and he was also a Vietnam War survivor, and he died from cancer from the Vietnam War. But there's facts that we need to look at in this case, and there's like what happened, why he didn't get the job at either Pullman or Moscow. Did he come off as arrogant? Did he come off as a know-it-all? Or is there another ulterior motive why the police departments didn't want to hire him? Is it because of his degree he was going for?
I wonder if we can get the answers to those questions. I wonder if there's some sort of Freedom of Information Act or something we could request the Pullman Police Department. Why didn't they hire this person? I mean, we know he applied. I mean, can we request emails on the subject? This is an interesting question for someone like Lana from Truth Transparency. Where does the Freedom of Information Act draw that line?
Yeah.
Be interesting to find. I mean, there must be a way to find out if Ann Taylor hasn't already.
Heather said they haven't released it to anyone yet.
Gosh, I'm so far behind. Robert, I'm with you. That's what Don't Be Hatin' says. Oh my God, I know at least 8 cops who smoke pot all the time. I'm not going to say that out loud, but because we do have to try to keep it PG. Robert, by the way, I'm back to saying unaliving and not swearing.
Okay.
You can do your thing.
I haven't really cussed in any of my videos as of late.
yeah, I just want, to keep it. Obviously this is adult content no matter what, but I want it to be PG-13. So if like somebody stumbled onto it, they weren't completely shocked. People act like Heather says people act like cops don't have issues. They're human. They're human. Everybody's human.
Yeah.
And Christy says, I don't think it's true. If they just was in horrible or in rehab, then yes. But if it was when he was a kid, then they look into it, but it wouldn't stop him from getting hired. Okay, we're gonna move it to. I just want to read all of your contact. I forgot how great it is to read the live chat and get into it, and that's all I want to do. But obviously, I have to provide you content. So let's stop here. Let me find a good comment to leave it on. What do we have here? Oh, Happy Hound says, when I lived in Moscow, so it is somebody who's local, which is always nice to have some comments from a local. When I lived in Moscow, I had a good girlfriend who was dating the judge. She told me they would smoke cannabis together all the time. Hearsay. We might leave that one up. Let me just find another one. Oh, wait. Heather's got some. I can't.
I provided you the HIPAA info for LE.
The thing is, I can't follow the links. Can you follow a link through the live chat, Robert? Because I can't.
I don't see the link. Yeah, from Heather. I just see where she said, I provided the HIPAA info for LE. I don't see the link.
I'm going to go pull my X screen back up here. I'm going to show you guys a couple things that I bookmarked. So I have two folders here. Let me make sure you can see that. I have my BK and my Micah folder. And just kind of building off what Robert said in that post, I'm going to pull up my BK folder. Oh, what am I doing here? And these are just things I bookmarked from my research. And if I go down here, there were some really interesting ones I wanted to bring up. So, I would speak on the maps, but I feel like I'm not knowledgeable enough. But there were some great maps right here that were on X. This was a cool little tweet I wanted to bring up. And I just lost it. It says, could the traffic cams in Latah County be used solely for traffic control? Is that the reason no traffic cam footage is mentioned in the PCA? Like Latah County not listed. Thanks. And what I wanted to say that I've heard about this is the traffic cams actually, there's like two different types of cameras that they use for surveillance. So one of the traffic cams would just be for observing, like the other type is for enforcement. So what they're hoping is that there's something for enforcement. If you want to give someone a ticket for speeding or running a red light or something like that, the actual cam has to be at a certain level to capture that license plate, a very precise level. Otherwise, all the other cameras that catch you, your car isn't actually identifiable. And oh, Heather just sent it to me in Discord. Hold on. Let's pull up what Heather has. Hold on. Okay, let me share my Discord with you guys. Here, an airplane. 9th birthday. All right. Go to my server. Oh, Heather. Here we go. Okay, so can you guys see that? Heather, what are we looking at here? These are the rules for. This is the rules for what the cops have to disclose. Am I reading that right? Robert, is that what she said?
Yeah.
Hold on. What did happen? How often do you read the documents? Ever seen someone? Well, you know, if Happy Hounds, all we have to do is see we'll follow any leads you give us, but we have to work one step at a time. And, so if that's true, we'll follow that lead, just show us. But for now, let's see what we've got for disclosures here so we can know exactly if they would have rejected with Brian. So why would HIPAA require covered entities to turn over other information? So an important ingredient for ensuring compliance with the Privacy Rule Department and the Health Human Services responsibility to investigate complaints, the rule has been violated to follow up on other information. Okay. Does HIPAA permit covered entities to disclose public information for officials responding to health information? Yes. Oh, law enforcement. The privacy rule is balanced to protect it. Okay, so it's a gray area, is what it's saying. If I'm reading this correctly, it says the privacy rule is a balance to protect the individual's privacy while allowing important law enforcement functions.
Oh,
Yeah.
check your back chat, Kiki.
Oh, okay. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I didn't know that. So I'm gonna take that down.
just looking out for you, Kiki.
Thank you. No, I'm new to Discord, so I might be getting a little lax.
Excited?
Yeah, exactly. All right, I got a few more things to show you on X, and then we'll move on to the next segment here that we have. So a few more of these trending topics.
Yeah, I do want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Brian spent a lot of time in YY Park, jogging and hiking, and back in the 70s, Ted Bundy, who went to WSU for his law degree, used to hang out in YY Park back in the 70s. And one of the women that he killed, who was a college student at the college he went to at the time, they found her body in the cavern at the YY Park.
Robert, you mentioned something about this earlier. I've never heard this before. It just
back in 1971 it happened.
What now, is eerie connection?
Yeah, and what's weird is you have Brian who's obsessed with serial killers. I mean, after all, one of his professors in Pennsylvania, Kathleen Ramsland, who has wrote numerous books on BTK, which is a local serial killer where I live at. He was studying under her, and so when she was writing her books about BTK and all these other serial killers, he was actually learning from her, and he was actually in correspondence with BTK when he was going to DeSales University in Pennsylvania. And what's kind of ironic, he moved out to Washington, went to Washington State, where one of the most notorious serial killers went, Ted Bundy. He moved out there, went to that university, and then started going to the same park that Ted Bundy used to frequent back in the 70s.
Just makes you think about certain places and energy. I want to add to what you're saying, because I have talked about, I really, one of the things that I personally that find intriguing about true crime is the criminal profiling. And when you talk about BK, when he was studying BTK, I thought some of the interesting things that came up were, number one, BTK, and again, Brian is innocent until proven guilty, but BTK,
Yes.
his first unaliving happened at the age of 28, similar to allegedly BK's first unaliving. The other eerie similarity was there were 4 people unalived in the first.
Yes. It was the Otero family, and it was Joseph Otero, his wife Josephine, his son, youngest son, Joseph Jr., and their other daughter, which her name was Josephine as well. And they found the youngest daughter. They found her hung from a water pipe in the basement, and it just goes to show you exactly how sick and twisted BTK was. He would play with his victims. He would strangle them to the point of death, let them come back, and then strangle them again until they actually die.
It's like a cat and mouse game. That's horrifying.
Yeah. BTK's son was in the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts, and BTK's name is Dennis Rader. He was the Cub Scout master or the Boy Scout master for his son's troop. And a couple of the killings that he did when he was at the Boy Scout ranch or on the camp out with his son's troop. He would wake up in the middle of the night, leave, go find a victim, kill that victim, go back to the camp out, and then climb back in the tent and lay down by his son.
It's like the perfect alibi too. No connection to the victim. It's just so beyond sick. It's like, how do you not? I don't know. As a spiritual person, I don't know how people don't see good and evil in this world.
Yeah,
that's putting me aside. I don't know. I think that you're on to something though, very interesting. Going back, talking about BTK and the psychology. I'd love to just go there with you for a minute because there's just a few other things I'd like to bring up if we're going to do that psychological profiling. Number one, back in those studies, another interesting thing that I haven't been able to find a lot of literature on that I read about early on. And again, it might be one of these things that's scrubbed from the internet because it's part of the case or part of what they're going to talk about. But during that time, one of the other things that BK studied was they would set up these mock crime scenes at DeSales University. So they would set up like a home and it was supposed to mimic a crime scene. And they talked very often about the red herring. And I had this whole red herring thing backwards. The red herring, in terms of what he was being taught at DeSales, was something that the killer always left to throw the police off. So if he truly was the person, the unaliver, and he was going to be using his training, what is the red herring here? And a lot of people started saying from the beginning, because it was so weird, the knife sheath. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there, that there was that part, that there was this study that he has experience moving and creating and studying these crime scenes. And this was one of the major aspects of it, was when a criminal creates something, they create a red herring. The other thing, when you talk about DeSales University and that time studying, it does bring up another psychological profiling aspect that we could look at, which was BK had an activity he did after school, which, like most young men, he would go to the pub and have a couple beers. Most young single men, I should say. And so he apparently, I've read the article, the direct first person witness from the owner of the bar saying it was a notably he was a notably unusual customer. He would come in and he would change immediately after about 2 beers, and he would often blatantly, like very boldly, hit on somebody, try to pick somebody up. And when they didn't respond how he liked, he would respond in anger. And it was just such an odd reaction, and it would happen so frequently, he ended up in their computer system. So, I mean, the way that I look at this, like I'm not a drinking person. I haven't had a drink in over 10 years, but I remember back in the day when I used to go to bars, there was always like a drunk regular. And if there was a computer system, that drunk regular would be in the computer system. I don't know if it's that or if it's something else, but it is something that this business owner felt he needed to come forward and say as witness. And another thing psychologically that I know it's been scrubbed off because I only have one article on it and I never hear about it anymore. But there was a program that BK was in right before he went into the HVAC program. He was in a different program for law enforcement. And something happened so confrontational between him and a group of women in that they approached leadership in that program to have him kicked out. And that's when he got put into the HVAC program. And nobody's ever elaborated on what they said. And now I can't even seem to find much referencing on that. But I do have the original article. I archived it. And we have a lot of comments. Robert, do you want to talk and I'll catch up on the comments here? Them.
Well, that is a there is a very interesting theory that you have there, and why has that one article been scrubbed?
I can pull it up. Give me a second. I'll find it. Hold on. But you can keep talking. I'll go look for it. In my inbox. It's in my email somewhere.
Yeah, I have so many emails. I've just stopped checking my emails.
No, I definitely have this one because I know who gave it to me is Dean. And if Dean is watching, I am finally showing this darn article we shared with each other. Or you shared with me.
You know who I haven't seen in a few weeks?
Who?
Jeff H.
Really? Well, Jeff, if you're watching, hit him up. Okay, it's in my other email. If you are a YouTuber, you have several emails. Sure. Okay, here we go. Dean. Okay, he's.
Well, you don't want to do that deception. She goes, "Yes, I almost broke my mouse when I saw she was live."
Wait, who said that?
Deception, dismantle, echoes of clarity.
Oh, sweetie, it's so good to see you here. Wait. Oh, thank you. I did not see them, but I was just on I was literally just on the Latah. I was just on the Latah County website. So it must have been in the last few minutes. The last document I saw was this defendant's response to state's motion. Okay, so while I'm doing that, you guys, I'm pulling up the article from Dean and then I'll get the new documents. So Dean.
Yes, that is a good point, Happy House. Total compartmentalization during life, BTK.
Say that again.
BTK has total life compartmentalization, or he had his entire life basically compartmentalized. Yeah, throughout his entire life.
That is, the same way that like a police officer or an investigator. Well, let's just face it, like we have to kind of compartmentalize ourselves with what we're doing too. Yeah, there's a total compartmentalization during life, BTK. I can't find Dean's article, but I will bring that up for the profiling reasons. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I'll bring some receipts. I'll bring some receipts and I'll tell you guys more about that article that I brought up when Brian entered into the HVAC program. If I had a video to play, I'd look for it while I was doing that. And since Deceptions Dismantled mentioned there was a new document. I'm just going to look real quick to see if something dropped since we've been online. Hold on. Okay, got it. Oops, that's the wrong Latah County District Court. Here we go.
I did a reaction video to Jay Embry the other day, and this comment I got in the comment section: "Why are you giving this job of a man any airtime?"
What?
There's a lot of people who don't like Jay Embry.
I just can't even believe, like, let's just say that somebody doesn't like him. It really hurts me that people have no tolerance for anyone else. Like, can't you just, let people do their thing? Because people aren't disposable and they're not going anywhere. So say you cancel someone or you don't like them or you don't want to look at them, guess what? They're still there. They're still, people don't have any grace. I just wish that people would have more grace and take a deep breath. But
yeah,
I mean, obviously he's doing something right because people are listening. And if it's just to be the devil's advocate to what other people are saying, then he serves a purpose. It sharpens everybody's sword to hear a clever perspective on something. That's
yeah.
bad. And I'm on BK's page. Can you guys all see that? I'm pulling down to see if we've got a new document. All right. Oop, sealed. Oh. Wow, there's so many. Oops, just passed it. Nope. Nothing yet tonight. It's so amazing to see you guys too. Oh my gosh, I'm so behind on these. All right, let's find something else to share you. I've got a bunch of things on X. I was starting to show trending topics, but I have a bunch of things bookmarked on X I haven't even touched base with. So let's go back to my bookmarks. BK. So I'm going to get into a little Papa Rogers, a little bit on Papa Rogers. Oh, I thought this was a cool bookmark too. I'm going to bring up from Heavenly Stars right here on X. Why can't I bring that document up? There we go. You guys see that? Good. So she points out something interesting, which is, she says, this was at the beginning of the case. I'm curious that Anne was asking about a statement of co-defendant. It's a bit strange that she doesn't give the option of more than one co-defendant. And it is strange. So the statement is, statements of co-defendant. Any written or recorded statements by co-defendant and the substance of any relevant oral statements made by the co-defendant, whether before or after arrest in response to the interrogation by any person known by the co-defendant to be a peace officer or agent of the prosecuting attorney, or which are otherwise relevant to the offense charged. Robert, do you have any explanation why it says co-defendant? Other than the obvious thing that a person speaking English would think?
I do not. I do not know. I was reading the comments really quick, and Happy House says Robert said it'd be scrubbed because it was fake or untrue. Now, what were you talking about, Happy House? The article that we were just talking about.
Hold on. Let me pull it up. Could be scrubbed because it was fake or untrue. Which, oh, no, it's not scrubbed. I have it. I just don't. Here's the thing is I don't want dead air, but I can, if we had, why don't we play one of Robert's videos and I'll go find the article for you guys.
Yeah, play the one that has the Brian Koberger face on it.
Okay.
That was the one that you praised me on in Discord the other night.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I don't want to pick the wrong one, so stay with me. Okay, videos.
It's that one with Brian, next to Trapped in Idaho.
This new military-grade hiking stick is the Swiss Army knife of the modern era, and it's being given away for 50.
Yeah, from Heather. Good. Okay.
Hey guys. Well, it seems the state has responded to Brian's alibi. And just like always, crackhead Bill Thompson, or crackhead Santa, is throwing an absolute fit about it and doesn't believe Brian's alibi. Even though Brian has stated where he was the night of the murders, he was in Wawai Park. And Bill Thompson doesn't believe him. As a matter of fact, Bill Thompson says he has witnesses that can place Brian there the night of the murders. What witnesses? Dylan and Bethany? Well, for one, Bethany was down in her room on the first floor. And for two, I don't believe anything that comes out of Dylan's mouth. For all we know, that the probable cause affidavit, or the PCA, which was written by Brett Payne, how do we know that she wasn't coached on what to say in the PCA? Because that night, she opened her door not once, not twice, but 3 times. And the third time, she miraculously saw the killer walking through the house in his face mask and his bushy eyebrows and clad in black. What person says clad in black? As far as I know, nobody says clad in black.
Nobody.
That's why I don't believe her. Comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and submits the following initial response to the notice of defendant's supplemental response to state's alibi demand filed herein on April 17, 2024. At the outset, the state incorporates by reference as if fully set forth at this point those portions of the state's July 27, 2023 motion to compel notice of defense of alibi, or alternatively to bar certain evidence to the extent that it relates to the adequacy and timelessness of defendant's alibi notice. The state respectfully submits that the defendant's supplemental alibi response continues to lack specificity required by Idaho Code 19519, which provides that the defense shall state the specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense. Now, if I remember in The alibi, Brian states he was at Hawaii Park during the time of the murders. So, how can Bill Thompson say that Brian didn't state where he was when he actually did? He stated that he liked to go on late night runs, late night hikes, and gaze at the stars at Hawaii Park. I think Bill or Crackhead Santa don't like the fact that Ann Taylor, each hearing puts him in his place. That's why he throws his little temper tantrums and stomps around during the court hearings, because he don't like being put in his place by a woman. And the names and addresses of the witnesses upon whom he intends to rely to establish such alibi. Emphasis added. The defendant's April 17, 2024 submission minimally adds to the alibi notice dated July 24th, 2023. The defendant states he was driving around during the early morning hours on November 13th, 2022, and drove throughout the areas south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, Idaho, including Hawaii Park.
Okay, I was going to stop.
With the exception,
I'm going to stop right now. I remember all this video. This is a good video. We're going to get through the whole thing. But the whole reason we were playing this is because I wanted to pull this up. And I just want to address what Happy Hound says, because I did make a comment. And, as I don't want to make flippant comments, I want to take the time to explain what I said. But as far as scrubbed, that is definitely something that is going on in this case. And I can tell you straight up, if you go to Reddit, it has been scrubbed. Dylan's name has been scrubbed from Reddit without a doubt. Things do get scrubbed in this case. I don't mean it in a nefarious way. I mean it as part of the case. So if something gets scrubbed, I do believe it's part of the redaction or part of the gag order. But I do have what I want to show you, and this is the only place I've seen it reported, and I think that they probably stopped reporting on it too heavily afterwards, just because, for whatever reasons. I don't know why I'm saying that I know why people would do it, but I just haven't seen it anywhere else. So this was shared with me when I was doing my profiling. And this is an interesting article. It says, Brian Kohlberger's investigated as a teenager, school administrator reveals. And it says, a former high school administrator revealed an investigation. And by the way, this was Jeremy Sutton who gave this to me. I was wrong. It wasn't Dean. So, Jeremy, thank you for providing this article. A former high school administrator revealed an investigation carried out years ago into Brian Kohlberger when he was a student, which ultimately doomed his enrollment into law enforcement training program. Kohlberger, a Pennsylvania native who had been doing doctoral studies at Washington State University, was arrested at his parents' home in late December and charged with the unalivings of the 4 Idaho college students. The students, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Madison Mogan, 21, Ethan Chapin, 20, and Xander Coronado, 20, were all found stabbed to death on the morning of November 13th at their shared residence near their school at the University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho. The home was only 8 miles away from Kohlberger's campus. An extensive FBI investigation utilizing vehicle records and DNA evidence ultimately led to Kohlberger becoming the prime suspect in the killings. In May, a grand jury indicted him on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. The judge overseeing the arraignment entered into a not guilty plea on his behalf, as Kohlberger refused to speak at the hearing. His trial is set to begin in October, with the prosecutors aiming for the death penalty. Tanya Carmela Beers previously served as an administrator for a vocational high school that Kohlberger attended, with her duties including mental health services, the student discipline. Kohlberger attended the vocational program at the Pleasant Valley School District in eastern Pennsylvania during his sophomore and junior years of high school. Speaking with the Idaho Massacre podcast, she described an incident in which several female students lodged complaints against him, ultimately leading to his removal from the school's vocational law enforcement program. A situation occurred where the complaint was made and the teacher reported it to me and said an investigation needed to be conducted. Carmela Bierce explained. Other students were interviewed. Brian was interviewed. And, there comes a time when decisions have to be made, whether it's the decision of the student wants or not, she continued. He was removed from the law enforcement program and transitioned to the HVAC program. And then at the end of the 11th grade year is when he decided not to return as a senior. Carmela Bierce would not elaborate on what Kohlberger had been accused of, but she did note what had him removed from the program when we looked back on it now makes sense. In response to the inquiry from Newsweek, a Pleasant Valley School District official declined to comment on the investigation, citing the need to respect the student's privacy. Kohlberger ended up completing his high school education with online classes, later pursuing an undergraduate degree in psychology and his master's in criminology. So that was the article I'm referencing, and I just haven't seen it anywhere else. And except when Jeremy brought it up to me.
AR wants us all three to do a live this week on the new doc drop.
Okay. You guys can tell me. I'm open. Tell me. Well, for the most part, what's your availability? Let's come up with a time.
His comment on that is up.
Hold on. Oh, here we go. Swamp Rose. I say three of us just couple lives. I agree, AR. So the only thing I'm planning a live stream for Thursday with Gia, but any other days you guys want to do it, even if it's Thursday, just let me know. Send me an email, and then Robert, hit me up in Discord, and we'll come up with a date, and we'll post it, you guys. And we can do it on one of your channels. We don't have to just stream it onto all three, or we could stream it on all three. It doesn't matter to me.
AR said Wednesday on the evening.
Okay. You guys, AR's 3 hours behind me. What time are you in?
I'm an hour behind you.
I kind of like the 8 o'clock hour. It seems to really pull in a lot. 8 Eastern time, so that'd be 7 your time, 5 o'clock AR's. If that works for you guys, I'll post it. And I don't know, you guys are welcome to use my StreamYard. You can actually stream to other platforms from inside my StreamYard, but or we could do it on one of your channels.
Chrissy goes, "Yay! All three together on panel."
That's perfect. All right, we'll plan on Wednesday. I say 8 o'clock's a good time. AR, if you have another time that works for you, Robert and I. Sounds like Robert's pretty open on that day. We'll work around your schedule, but let's do a tentative 8 o'clock live stream, and that sounds great.
AR says, "Came out wrong any night and schedule at any time after 2 p.m. my time. I'm open and workable."
Let's do, wait, can't remember, any night, any schedule. All right, well, I mean, what do you think of Wednesday, though? Do you think that's still a good day for you, Robert?
Yeah, that's a good day for me.
All right, so he says after 2. So why don't we keep the 8 o'clock time slot, which would be 5 o'clock your time, AR, and it'd be 7 o'clock Robert's time. I'll make a poster for you guys and send you a link. And I'm going to pull your video back up, and let's keep playing that, because I think that was everybody was really getting into that.
Of the reference to Walleye Park, which is new, the defendant.
What happened?
That right there, which Bill Thompson did say, the adding of Walleye Park, which is new, does add something new to his alibi. And Cy Ray will actually corroborate where Brian was the night of the murders. He was at Walleye Park. I think Bill Thompson is scared that he knows that this case is slipping through his fingers. Or maybe he's just scared at the what the victims' families will do to him when they find out that he is the wrong person. Especially according to Steve G, who's the alpha male, or don't make me be the alpha male. Maybe Bill Thompson's afraid of what Steve G will do to him when he has to say, hey, yeah, I got the wrong guy. We don't know where the real killer is. I got the wrong guy. Because if you look at the IgG, one molecule on the button snap of the knife sheath, which is brass. Touch DNA doesn't necessarily cling to brass. And you have two security guards for WSU looking for a white Elantra 1 hour apart. One at midnight and then one at 1 a.m. So if they took that molecule of DNA off the button snap, could they have taken the touch DNA off of Brian's car door? Because they could have used that DNA off the knife sheath. They could have used it up when they found out that the perpetrator wasn't in CODIS. And if that's the case, that's illegal to do, especially when they don't know who the killer is. They want us all to think, oh, this guy did it, this guy did it, this guy did it. This guy had motive. He was stalking them. He was this, he was that. He was not stalking the victims. Even the prosecution admitted he wasn't stalking the victims. And the judge admitted it too. He was not stalking the victims. Without no IgG, you have no connection to the victims. Without no connection, you have no motive. Without no motive, that arrest warrant for Brian goes out the window. That he was simply driving around during the morning hours of November 13th, 2022. As the state noted during the August 2023 hearing, the state is aware that the defendant was driving around rural areas of Whitman County, Washington, and Latah County, Idaho, during the early morning hours of November 13th. In fact, the defendant travels during that time are described in the original PCA, supporting the criminal complaint in this case. The PCA is garbage. The PCA is full of holes. The PCA is one man's wet dream, which is Brett Payne. That was Brett Payne's wet dream, was the PCA, because he got to coach somebody on what to say. And the somebody was?
I want to pause right there because I actually was taking notes Christy, it's so and I figured since Christy brought it up too, I'd bring it up too. This whole conversation about stalking, and I wasn't on YouTube when that came out in the hearings, and I'd love to just have the quick discussion of it right here and hear some live opinions on it. This was my take on it. So when Bill Thompson said that to the person who was conducting the surveys, and he says, there was no stalking. I wished I was on YouTube so I could retract some of the things I had said, because I literally had been repeating some of the news stories I heard about BK being a stalker. And now I can't take back what other people said and other headlines people have put out there. But what I really gathered when I was listening to some of the like the legal beagles, like some of the lawyers, is that stalking is a very specific legal term. And what Chrissy's saying is one of the aspects of it is the person has to have knowledge that they're being stalked. And I believe another aspect of it is the person actually has to have fear that something might happen to them. So if somebody could still be following or keeping tabs on someone and not meet that legal definition to stalking. So it's hard to know. Did he mean that in a literal sense? He must have meant it in the legal aspect of the word stalking. Could it still mean that? I mean, how could somebody profile someone for unaliving without some sort of surveillance or casing or intel? I don't know. Robert, your thoughts?
Well, if you look at it, as about the FBI possibly taking the case over.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
The FBI is refusing to give the cast report to the state.
Wait, say that again? Say that again?
The FBI is refusing to give the cast report to the state of Idaho, especially Bill Thompson. That's why in that last hearing, Bill Thompson mentioned the 2E decision. That is something specifically set up to get like federal agencies to turn over something, or to make that specific federal agent testify for the state. Because the federal agent, the FBI agent that did the cast report, is now refusing to turn over the cast report to Bill Thompson. Because I don't know if possibly the reason why they don't want the state knowing exactly how they went on getting the cast report, or they don't want the state knowing the type of technology they use. But that FBI agent that did the cast report for the state of Idaho is now refusing to turn it over to the state of Idaho.
Okay, so break this down for me, Robert. First off, are you gleaming everything you just said from what we heard at the hearing, or are you also using something else I haven't? The actual specific FBI agent is refusing. Is this all stuff you've gleaned from the hearing?
I'm gleaning that from the hearing, and I'm also doing some digging behind the scenes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Interesting, fascinating. I mean, I've thought on this so many times when there's that 5, Ann says, well, I only have 95% of that metadata that they're talking about. And then I heard Bill Thompson saying they were holding back, but when I heard what they were holding back from the FBI was they were talking about specifically the work the FBI did in the tip with the DNA. I didn't realize that casting. The holding back, my impression is Bill Thompson says something about it not being prepared, but I was under the impression they were holding that back because they wanted to have the alibi first. They didn't want to help create an alibi around what they have for their evidence, so they were withholding it. But I don't know.
Now, I have a friend of mine that's a lawyer, and they actually live in Idaho, and they've been in direct contact with Bill Thompson. And yeah, they don't. I will say this: they don't like each other. Every time Bill Thompson sees my lawyer friend, he shoots her an evil look.
Crazy.
But from what they have talked about, is this came out of Bill Thompson's mouth, is that the FBI agent that did the cast report, and I saw in comments that Heather said that Brett Payne did the cast report. You can't do a cast report unless it's done by a federal agency.
Wait, say that again. Repeat that again. You can't do a cast report unless it's a federal agency?
Yeah, because it's a specific type of technology that is used for a cast report. And if you remember, for a while, the FBI was involved in the case in Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking Moscow PD is what, 6 officers tops, maybe a little bit more. And this would be murder this gruesome, and this is the first quadruple homicide in Moscow in 10 years. So they would be in over their heads. The Moscow PD would. So they would have to actually reach out to an external source, say the FBI, to help them out with the case. And the FBI has technology that the Moscow PD don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like a way to do the cast report. The FBI, the FBI does cast reports like on a daily basis for other jurisdictions across the United States. The Moscow PD wouldn't have the technology to do a cast report. They would have to call in an outside agency. Yeah, like Deception just said, Cy could do a cast report.
But would he be using his own technology to do it, or does he use something? I don't know how it works, but that's interesting that you said that, because then that means that Bill Thompson didn't do his own, or not Bill Thompson, that the police department, Fry or whomever, didn't do their own cast report, which I've heard so many times.
Yeah.
But they don't possess it. You're saying they don't possess the technology. It would have had to have been federal forces that did it.
Yeah, and just like Ghost just said,
Payne did it.
I think they gave Payne the data and he wrote the report. So the FBI could have gave Payne the data and he wrote the report. But why is the FBI now stating that the FBI agent who did the cast report, or has the data for the cast report, is refusing to turn over that data and that report to the state?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Because if you listen to the last hearing, Thompson mentions the Dewey report, or the 2E decision. The 2E decision is a federal law set up to get a federal agent or other people involved in the federal agencies to either be forced to turn over the evidence or to testify for the state. Why would Bill Thompson mention the 2E decision if a local police officer did the cast report?
It would.
He would only.
Yeah,
he would only mention the 2E decision if an outside federal agency did the cast report.
That's fascinating. How do I spell that word you're saying? It's Tui?
Yes.
Tui. A T. How do you spell it? Anyway, I'm going to look it up. I'll figure it out. It's an easy enough word. That is coming in the next, that's definitely coming more in the next video, because what a good point. If that's the case, it doesn't apply to from one cop to another, it would have to apply to federal agency. So, and you actually brought I just realized there was another update we're going to share after your video. We're going to build off a clip that Lucky was talking about. Somebody on X gave me some awesome screenshots I've never seen here on YouTube. I wanted to show you, which actually reminds me, I have some Papa Rogers screenshots too. Let me just play on your video. This is so fascinating. I hope you guys are enjoying this at home.
Dylan.
This is the reason why I've canceled my doorbell camera subscription.
This brand new subscription-free mini Wi-Fi camera provides.
As to the defendant's reference to potential testimony about the location of the defendant's cell phone on the morning of November 13th, 2022, this information does not rise to the level of an alibi at the time of the homicides, because the defendant's cell phone stopped reporting to the cellular network before the homicides, because the defendant's cell phone stopped reporting to the cellular network before the homicides and continued to not report until after the homicides. The location of the defendant's cell phone at times other than the time of the homicides is not proof of or relevant to the defendant's specific location at the time of the homicides, approximately 4 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. on November 13th, 2022. In the state's position that the defendant's continued failure to adequately comply with the Idaho Code does not trigger a response under Idaho Code if the court deems the defendant's supplemental response to be in compliance with the requirements of Idaho Code, the state requests additional time pursuant to Idaho Code to prepare a list of witnesses to establish the defendant's presence at the scene of the homicides. Okay, now he said list of witnesses. Who are these witnesses? Dylan? Bethany? Which I don't believe Dylan, and I don't believe Bethany, because Bethany was in her first 4-bedroom. So who are the other witnesses that he's talking about? That don't make no sense. A list of witnesses. Does he have some imaginary witnesses? I mean, could be. I mean, it's crackhead Bill Thompson or crackhead Santa. He could have an imaginary list of witnesses. He's just mad. Bill Thompson is mad because he is not getting what he wants in this court case. He wants Brian all hemmed up in a nice little bow, sent off to death row. He's not getting it. Not at all. Witnesses to rebut a claim of alibi. The defendant's failure to adequately comply with Idaho Code means the state does not know what specific assertions it needs to rebut. If the court allows the defense to offer further witnesses or information regarding alibi, which the state opposes, as described below, and bring it into compliance with Idaho Code 19519, the state will then respond accordingly pursuant to Idaho Code 19519. It has now been approximately 11 months since the state filed its request for discovery disclosure. Alibi demand on May 23rd, 2023. Okay. He's complaining about 11 months. How many motions of discovery has Ann Taylor filed? And they have not complied. I think it's now at 14. What about Ann Taylor in this? What about Brian? But, oh no, it doesn't matter unless it's you, Bill Thompson. Unless you get what you want. And you're not getting what you want, so you're mad. In almost a year and a half since the homicides occurred, the defendant has been given more time than he is legally entitled in order to provide his alibi. The state is subsequently prejudiced and compromised in its ability to investigate and respond to new or additional alibi-related disclosures. As the Idaho Court of Appeals noted in State versus Juarez, the state has a legitimate interest in obtaining timely and complete discovery response from the defendant. The state respectfully submits that we essentially remain in the same position as of July and August of 2023, and that, like Juarez, we do not know how this is an alibi at all. As the state further noted in its July 2023 motion to compel notice of defense of alibi, or alternatively, to bar certain evidence, the United States Supreme Court has observed in Taylor versus Illinois, the case in which an alibi can be fabricated. And the state's interest in protecting itself against an 11th hour defense in both obvious and legitimate. Based on the above, the state respectfully requests that the court enter an order denying the defendants any further opportunity to add to any purported claim of alibi and preclude testimony by anyone other than the defendant as to the defendant's absence from the presence of the scene of the homicide. It sounds like Bill Thompson is trying to block Cy Ray. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he's trying to block Cy Ray from testifying. Because he doesn't want anything coming in between his little witch hunt of Brian. Like always, guys, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell notification for any new uploads. And if you're not getting my uploads, make sure you click all instead of personalized on the bell notification.
That's really important. So anyway, Robert, that was a great video. I'm actually glad that you recommended that one with the that thumbnail. Those who want to go back to his channel, the title of this video again, let me pull it up. Shocking. Bill Thompson's outburst at Brian's alibi, #Idaho. And I have something I want to bring up to you guys, which I'm going to bring us back to X. I want to talk about a clip which became popular on YouTube a couple months back with Unfiltered Lucky. And then I heard about it on AR's channel, and AR gave credit to Unfiltered Lucky. That's why I bring it up. But let me pull this up. When I was looking at my analytics in X, by far one of the most looked at posts I made was about this post. And somebody left some really cool screenshots that I thought you'd all be interested in that I haven't seen on YouTube before. Let me get the video up here. It's this one right here.
Older clip that was an original.
Pause it and make sure you guys can see. You guys can, okay, good. I just want to make sure you can see. And let me take down this comment. Hold on. Okay. So let's listen to the clip. It's about a minute long, and then I'll bring up the screenshots that somebody on X showed me afterwards. What the heck? Okay.
Broadcast within the first 24 hours of the actual incident. And in this broadcast, they say,
on Good Morning Northwest, tragedy on the U of I campus. 4 students dead, another in the hospital. The new information we're learning and the questions we're hoping to be answered.
And a creator on YouTube called Unfiltered Lucky actually contacted this news station to verify that this was the original story. And they confirmed that was their original report. So what could that be? There's been a lot of speculation on the internet. People thought this could be a surviving witness. People thought this could have been an accomplice. But for me, I think the most plausible explanation would be that it might have been Dylan rushed to the hospital. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking at this point, because we know that it was one of the roommate's cell phones that was used to place the 911 call, likely by Hunter. So according to sources by News Nation, it was Ethan's best friend who found him that morning. And we've speculated it was Hunter because Hunter told us that he was Ethan's best friend at the service. So could it be that after these horrific discoveries were made and Hunter yelled out for someone to dial 911, that could have been Dylan, and when she approached the scene, she could have passed out. So my thought is that it was likely somebody traumatized from the incident that was rushed to the hospital. My speculation is that that could have been Dylan.
Okay.
I'd really like to know what you think down below. Do you think 4 unalived, 1 to the hospital means that there's something we don't know? Or do you think this was one of the surviving roommates or somebody who fainted from the trauma of seeing this horrific crime scene?
Okay.
Please comment below and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know your opinion.
So this really great comment we have below from this is everything's always out of order on X. It's so hard when you're getting new platform. Okay.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Yes, I do. All right, I got it. Oh, where is it? Well, I know I bookmarked her comment because it was that good. Hold on. So I'll just go up to my bookmarks. BK. Right here. So this is really cool responses from Misty Blue. Misty always has a nice little comment for me. And she writes, well, according to News Nation, both DM and BF were texting during the crimes until HJ himself says he was the one that pushed open E's door. I won't believe it. Others were called over. Likely one of them needed assistance rather than DM. Whoever it was, in my opinion, they were taking my car. Sorry, I'm yawning. So this is a picture of the police chief, and this is a quote he left. Can you guys all see that? Good. Okay. He said, Moscow Fire Chief Brian Nickerson told the Statesman Monday morning that his department was dispatched to the residence on a medical call just before noon on Sunday. His volunteer department sent an ambulance and fire engine, which he said is standard for such calls, but none of his team ended up entering the home. So this is a reporter, and I'm going to show you a screenshot from some text messages she sent. Somebody inquired about the news article we just ran, and this is what she said. Damn, you're right. We did not include that in our story. It's just awful. There is another student in the hospital. It's one of the many pieces that the police aren't talking about. So, I don't know. I hadn't seen that on YouTube before. I thought I'd bring it to X and show you guys. And yeah, this is another one I wonder about too. And I think when we read the PCA, I'll be honest, that's what it kind of says. And I don't want to go into it extreme detail because I don't have the exact line right here, but it says it somewhat says that's not where she ended up. I mean, we'll get to it in a second, but you're right. Those girls could have been in the same room. And another thing I wanted to talk about on X was Papa Rogers. And because when I put
Jeremiah had a good question for me before we went live.
what was that?
He asked who was Papa Rogers, and if you look, I've been kind of pondering in this and debating this for the last few weeks. Who was Papa Rogers and who was Inside Looking?
Mm-hmm.
Could Brian have been Papa Rogers?
Somewhat the same.
Could Brent? Could he have been Inside Looking?
Well, I still am 100% on the Papa Rogers train being the unaliver. But I'll tell you, there's people such as that I don't want to say I respect, people who I do listen to because I think they come up with some good theories, people like Character Analysis who really weigh heavily that this is law enforcement. And I think that I could go either way on that. For me, it's hard after studying those posts for so many months. It's pretty hard for me to believe this isn't somebody without inside knowledge on the crime. But what I think is fascinating and that came out recently is there was allegedly let me set my camera. There's allegedly a Papa Rogers YouTube account. So
wow.
I don't know. I haven't seen I saw the pictures on X and I'm wondering, and I'd love it if you guys know, drop it in the chat if it's been debunked or not. But on X, I saw photographs and screenshots of this YouTube channel and the handle said Papa Rogers and it had a date that was the same as BK's birthday. And then it had stopped being active right around the same time as BK's arrest. So anyway, I'd love to know what any of you guys have to think on that. And I brought up this Papa Rogers video that's playing in the background. This is on X. And I just wanted to tell you guys, I don't know what's going on in YouTube, but I only have 20 followers on X. This video got like 2,000 views. So people were really, really interested in this Papa Rogers video. And basically in this video, if you haven't seen it, I go into identifying Papa Rogers' uniform. And I spent a long time doing it, but doing a little bit of a deeper dive. That's what that is on the Papa. And I don't know if we want to get into that tonight. I mean, Robert, we've been going about 2 hours now, and I was thinking, maybe of calling it a night. I just want to say I really appreciate you coming up here with me and helping with my first live back in a month. It's been great. The energy was awesome in the live stream, and it's just so great to see all my friends and some old faces. So
yeah, this is actually the first live I've done in about almost a week and a half.
Really? Well, is that just because of everything that's been going on with your little girl?
Yeah, with my little girl, and also with some YouTube back alley stuff that I don't want to talk about. I'll talk to you about that in Discord, but I'm gonna say this. I brought it up to AR. Ever since what happened a few months ago on my channel, my membership my memberships have dropped from 67 down to 4.
Wow, that's something happened.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying a lot of YouTube back alley stuff's going on. I don't want to discuss it on your live. I'll discuss it with you in Discord.
Okay. But on that same note, I know a lot of people are having difficulties. Channels are channels are essentially, once you get monetized, they're essentially small businesses, and people put their heart and souls into them. And whatever you're going through on YouTube, whatever your struggle is, just know we're sending you love and prayers. We want this to be a good, positive place. We want to act like independent journalists and give our opinions and help each other, because there is no scarcity. There's a big enough audience to go around for everybody. The best we can do is help each other grow, help each other build our channels. There is no competition. It's all a illusion in your head. And if we work together, what we can do is put out some incredible content, which is going to bring people here, not over to TikTok, not over to Twitter, not, they're coming here to YouTube for the content and the well-produced videos. So yeah, anyway, we're here for you. If you're going through drama, take a deep breath, let it go. Focus on your people, on your subscribers, because they're what you're doing this for, and they're the people who will be there at the end of the day.
Yeah, and AR, he gives me a lot of good advice. He's told me the same thing. He told me, he goes, focus on your subscribers, get those memberships back. He said, because obviously those members that you had wasn't there for you, and wasn't there to see your channel grow and succeed. He said, I want to see your channel grow and succeed. And he said so does Swamp, so does Pete, so does Lucky. He said don't worry about that stuff. He goes, they'll come back. He said you'll get better ones than the ones you had before.
Ain't that the truth? And I mean, a lot of people gift free memberships, and it's a wonderful thing people do to come check you out. But at the end of the day, they didn't buy that for themselves. So it was a gift they were given. So that could explain why it popped down. When somebody knocks you down, I'm just going to tell you, wherever you're at, it doesn't matter. If you get knocked down, it doesn't matter how high you stand up when you get back up. Just get back up. Just pull yourself up and keep going, because at the end of the day, it's like that little bit. Every little bit is what's going to get you to that big goal that you're after. Everything is done in a step, or it's in strides. It's not done in, a big leap or bound. Anyway, just pick yourself up. And Robert, you've got a successful channel. You're part of at the very least, you're part of the highest 10 percentile in YouTube, monetized and doing well. And you're probably even with over 5,000 subscribers, you're certainly, you're doing something right. So just keep it up, keep the good energy, and keep it about your viewers like you are, because obviously they're coming back for a reason. So anyway, there's great encouraging comments to you too.
Jeff H is in the chat. So is Phil Biggs.
Phil, it's so nice to see you again. And Jeff, as always, thank you. Jeff, you were my first comment when I came back. That was how I knew my channel was live. I got a comment from Jeff. And Curious Rose, I don't know if you heard us earlier, but I was giving you some praise, because you were just part of that group of AR and Robert who really stepped up and gave me support when I felt like nobody was, I didn't even know if anybody remembered me, but you guys were great, and you guys posted about me, and I appreciate that. Thank you. With that said, I want you to all know that we love you very much. We wish you peace and blessings. And Robert and I are going to sign out for tonight. And God bless you. We will see you Wednesday, 8 p.m., 8 Central for the document drop.
8 p.m. your time, 7 my time, and then 5 AR's time.
Yeah, Eastern Standard. And I'll post it so you guys have something in writing so it's less confusing. So God bless you guys. Have a great night. Thanks, Robert, for everything.
You're welcome. Have a good night, Kiki.